hopefully first everybody can hear us and see us, and as we move along, we'll put the screen down so you can see the food being prepared. But you're here today cooking with Al, my dad, and Jackie. We're down here in Northern Virginia, Fairfax County in Centerville, Virginia, which is about 30 miles outside of Washington, D.C., for those of you that might be familiar with the D.C. metro area of the DMV. And it's a timely weekend to be celebrating on this Memorial Day weekend. So thank you for the service of any veterans who happen to be on the call. But we live in an area that is right where the Civil War was fought. And they say that the Memorial Day started with around the Civil War. So it's very timely for us. We're preparing today kind of a Tex-Mex theme. And my dad, Al, kind of funny to call him Al, we'll be starting with a nice starter or appetizer called Texas Caviar, and he'll walk you through that, a little bit of history on it. And then I'll go create a taco pie and give you a little bit of background on that as well. And if anybody has questions, you know, it's interactive, put comments in chat, we'll be monitoring that. And without further ado, you'll have a great recipe with a side of humor here and there. And on that, Dad, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to do a presentation that's going to be just a little bit different from some of our previous versions. I'm going to be doing from beginning to end in this presentation. Hopefully, will be educational as well as fun. I'm going to start with the dish itself, Texas Caviar. Texas Caviar was created by a lady by the name of Helen Corbett. Helen was from New York. Helen was a dietitian. Remember that point. Helen moved to Texas in 1931. Helen had never heard of a black-eyed pea, also known as black-eyed beans, and some people call them cowboy peas. Now, Helen created this dish somewhere around 1940. And it was first served New Year's Eve at the Houston Country Club. This dish was the original black-eyed pea version of Good Luck for New Year's. It was later replaced by a dish named Hoppin' John, which is also a black-eyed dish. And as time evolved, black eyes have come to be known as a Good Luck New Year's Eve dish. But Texas Caviar was the original. Now, this was first served at the Houston Country Club on New Year's Eve, as I said earlier. Now, Miss Corbett became a food director at Marcus Newman department stores. Now, their department stores were very high-end, very expensive items. And within some of their stores, they had restaurants. And she became the food director for one of those restaurants inside one of these Marcus Newman's Marcus department stores. And this was served later on at a restaurant a ritzy restaurant, make note of that, in Austin. It was placed next to a dish of caviar. And someone jokingly said, oh, we've got caviar and we've got Texas caviar. Hence, this is where the name came from. Now, if we fast forward to about 20 years ago, this is when I was first introduced to Texas Caviar. I had a very good friend. He was a childhood friend. We went to school together. We played sports together by the name of Gary. Now, Gary brought this recipe to me. Now, it was customary, Gary's custom, that he would bring a 12-pack, and he usually drank 8, and I would drink 4. I'll make a note of that. Gary transitioned into his second childhood, and he sold all his belongings and bought a houseboat. Now, Gary would moor his houseboat on Seneca Lake up in Watkins Glen, and toward the later part of the summer or early fall, he would sail up to Seneca and eventually make his way to the St. Lawrence Seaway. And then he would come down the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, and he'd harbor in either South Carolina or Florida. So Gary had a lot of connections as far as food and whatnot. So whenever we got together, we always talked about food. So Gary, this particular year, he brought this recipe. He passed away at the end of the year. So in Gary's memory, I was going to make this dish the following year at Super Bowl. Now, I wanted to make this dish for some friends that were going to come over. But guess what? I misplaced the recipe. So I had to do the recipe from memory. Now remember, he drank 8, I drank 4. So I could very well remember most of the recipe. Since then, there's been 2 variations and 1 error, something I forgot. So I start this with black-eyed peas. Pastor Thorne, I heard you, hope you heard that. Now, black-eyed peas can be served, well, first of all, you do a quick soak. I like to do a overnight soak, but you can do a quick soak where you take hot water, cover them, bring them to a rapid boil for 2 minutes, set them aside, drain them, let them cool, and then rinse them. I do the overnight soak. I find that I have, they just come out better. And in that case, I will put cold water on them, put them in the refrigerator overnight, drain them in the morning, rinse them, and then cook them. Now, the cook time is about 1.5 hours, but let me give you a little insight on black eyes. Black eyes are good. They have, where are they at? Bring it on. They're good with, they have plenty of protein. Let's see what else. Come on. Come up. Okay, here we go. So this is what they're good for. They have fiber, iron, protein, and they're rich in zinc. Now these are all things that our body needs. Now usually I will simmer them low for about 1.5 hours. You might want to take a look at them about 1 hour in, and also season with about 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Black eyes by themselves are pretty bland. About 1 hour in, you want to make sure a couple of things. First of all, that you've got enough water to cover them, which is about 3 to 4 cups of water. And also, you'll want to see if the desired tenderness is there. Some people like them a little more tender, so you allow them to cook them longer. But it's usually about 1.5 hours to cook these, right? So now you can buy a 1 pound bag of black eyes for about $1.50. And now I'm going to use about 1 cup, which is half of the bag, and you'll have another half to use for something else. And so when you get done, we have the black eyes, which are going to be similar to this. Okay, now when I'm making this, I usually will put the black eyes in the dish at the end, because you want to kind of monitor your ingredients so that all the ingredients you will get some or a little of each time you eat this. Sometimes a whole half a cup is too much. So I usually put the black eyes in last. And remember, they're very, very good for you. Okay, now next. Okay, the next ingredient we have are a green pepper and a red pepper. Okay. Here's another little tip that you may not know. Peppers are a fruit. Many people think they're a vegetable. So you have a high concentration of vitamin C in both your green pepper and your red pepper. Now your red pepper takes it a little bit further. It really promotes night vision, and it also is full of antioxidants, which currently what we're going through, you want to have as many antioxidants in your system as possible. Now what I usually do is I will, in this case, I've already cut out the stem and taken out the membrane, and then I will cut them. You see this? Move it up a little bit, I'll move it back. Okay. So I cut them small, small, small. This is not my knife, it's my daughter's. Anyway, small pieces. And everything that you want to put in this dish, you want to make it small so that when you eat this, you get a little bit of everything. Now, the biggest thing is going to be the bean, of course. And speaking of the beans, going back to the beans, there's a lot of variations to this dish. but the main ingredient is always going to be peas or beans. If you, in some parts of the South, they're actually served with either a pinto bean or a black bean. And if you get really out to the Southwest, you'll find both black beans and pinto beans have replaced the black eyes. All right, so now we cut these up, and let me get you back down so you can see this. So I cut them up, and I'm just going to do this quickly. You'll get the idea. But I have to cut them up small pieces, very small, and I'll do the whole thing. So I'll cut them in half. They're easier to cut. And then I'll move on to the green pepper and cut that as well. Now, the next ingredient is the scallions. Now, scallions was my first variation from this menu. It was original, but it was a variation. The original recipe called for onion, and to me that was a lot of chopping. So I went to, for a couple reasons, I went to scallions. Now you can also use leeks. Leeks are bigger, more chopping, and you can't eat the leaf. Okay, so we have the scallion. The scallion, and one of the other reasons I like scallions is because when you cut them, they're just about the right size. But with scallions, you can eat the tuber or the head, the stem, and the leaf. All of them can be eaten raw. It's the only onion that you can actually do that. So we start with the scallion. Oh, and another tip too, if you're going to cut a lot of onions up, you might want to take a piece of bread, put it in your mouth, and it really cuts the vapors down from the onions. It stops a lot of the watering of the eyes and the burning of the eyes. Just a little tip, piece of bread when you're doing a lot of onions. So we take the scallion.
One other tip also when cutting onions is, if you cut them running near hot water, sometimes the vapors of the hot water will also pull the onions and stop you from tearing if you're doing really strong onions. So.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. So, and again, in a raw state, you can eat the entire scallion. Now, scallions they contain a lot of vitamin C, and they also contain antioxidants. Again, it's a good thing to have in our system during what we're going through right now. They're also a good source of fiber, B6, and potassium. Now, I usually will take the scallions. I like to cut off probably 3 or 4 inches of the end of it. Like that. Discard that. And then I'm going to cut off what's known as the beard. Now, these are the beards. Cut those off like that. And yeah, you can actually put these in water and grow them and reproduce your scallions. So now again, I say I like scallions because they're small. You don't have to do as many choppings. And if you cut them really short, they're perfect size for putting into your Texas caviar. Okay? And then I'll cut those off, and then I'll also go down here and cut really fine the green leafy parts. All good for you. And it makes for a dirty breath also, but we won't go there. All right, so we cut those, and these will all go into your fish. And here we have your scallions that they're already chopped up. Now they're going to go into the bowl, and they're also going to go in with the peppers. Now, the peppers here I've cut up already, and I've cut some of the scallions and some of the red and green peppers. They're also going to go into your bowl. All right, next. Okay. Scallions are about $1.50 a bunch, and usually they come in about 6 in a bunch. I usually will use 2 bunches, chopped up finely. Okay, next we have our pimentos. Now this is remember the scallion was the variation from the onion to the scallion. Pimentos was the forgotten ingredient. The reason I forgot scallions is because, the reason I forgot pimentos is it's very rare that I even see a pimento. Most of the time you'll see a pimento stuffed in an olive, stuffed in the whole of an olive, and it's actually sweet and succulent, and it offsets some of the bitterness from the olive itself. Now, a jar of sliced, make sure you get sliced, a jar of sliced pimentos is about $1.50. It has a lot of the same ingredients or nutrients as your pepper. This actually is a red pepper, a little bell pepper cut up. So again, it has a lot of the same nutrients as your green and your red pepper. Now we'll open these up, and these will be dipped into your bowl. Okay. All right. Next, we have cherry tomatoes, or better known as grape tomatoes. And we also know that grape or cherry tomatoes are a fruit as well. So with cherry tomatoes, can we scoop? So we have grape tomatoes. I quarter them. Let me get you down here so you can see this. They, by the way, are rich in vitamin C, and they produce collagen, which is a good skin nutrient. Now, a 16 ounce of these cost about $2. All right, so now, because again, everything you're doing in this dish, you want to cut it up fine, because when you eat it, you want to get a little bit of everything. So I will take cherry or grape tomato, and I usually will cut it in half. You see, cut it in half. Whoops, I cannot use your knife. Cut it in half, and then quarter it. Cut that in half. Cut that in half. All right, then we'll go into your bowl. There you go. That's pretty much what it will look like when it's all cut up. And into the bowl they go. What's next on the list? Okay, the garlic. Garlic. This is the other variation that I made from the original recipe. And originally it called for fresh garlic, which I still like fresh garlic, and I think Maya gave us a great example last week of how you crush the garlic. But because of, I got tired, getting old and whatnot, I went from the fresh garlic to chopped garlic in a jar. You still can use the fresh garlic, which probably will taste better, but again, by this time, I'm pretty much tired. So this will go into, and by the way, garlic will cost about $2 a jar. Let me see where they. I'm not sure. Okay. They're also good. They have a lot of nutrients that are similar to the peppers. Okay, now these will go into the jar, or into the dish. The whole thing, you see? And again, you can use fresh garlic. It's just more chopping the celery, okay? So next we have Zesty. Somebody hand me the Zesty. Now you can, I use a Zesty Italian seasoning dressing. Now this is, in a lot of, by the way, there are a lot of variations of this recipe. A lot of people will use a vinaigrette, which they make themselves out of vinegar and vegetable oil. And I can't tell you the parts that you should use because I always use Zesty, okay? Zesty really has no fats, not many carbs. And this really, I think, really tops off this dish. Okay, so I'm shake it up, pour it in. You see? And it goes. Okay, now I'm ready to add the beans. Okay, and again, I do the beans last because a lot of times I don't want to over saturate this dish with too many beans. Now you can put as many as you like, but remember the beans are going to be the biggest thing in this recipe. Everything else is chopped up fine. So I'll put in the, Now, since I didn't pre-make this, I'm going to have to put these beans in and try to guess what but usually I don't use a whole cup of black ice. Pour them in, stir them up. And while I'm doing this, usually this dish will last about 2 days. 2 days is about the perfect time for it to last in your refrigerator. It will last 3 to 4 days, but after 4 days, your zesty Italian dressing will start to break down all the other ingredients in your dish. All right, so I'm going to add a few more beans. A few more beans, and this is almost using the entire cup of beans. Okay. Now, next comes the fun part. And I use Bag of Tortilla Scoops. There's a reason they call them scoops. Now, you can use various other things to scoop up your dish. I use tortillas, not many carbs, and I really didn't get into all the nutrients that a bag will have. Now, as I said before, there's a lot of variations to this. Again, as you get to the Southwest, some parts of Texas, you have both the bright bean and the pinto bean. Some people, you'll find a lot of recipes that also will add both yellow corn and white corn, kernels, that is. And like I said, there's a lot of variations. I'm not sure. Now, a bag of this will last about will cost about $3. Okay. Now, here comes the fun part. Take your little trusty scoop. Scoop in. Somebody said, don't that just make you hungry? Very good. Very good.